The role of AI in the supply chain. Joining us today to speak about that, Jim Hayden, Chief Data Scientist at Everstream Analytics. Jim, it's great to see you again. Welcome.
Great to be here, Russell. Thanks.
Jim, I think it's fair to say that artificial intelligence is top of mind for many, many people in the supply chain world. Let's talk about that role that it is playing and can play in the supply chain. What do you say?
It's playing an emerging role. Every year, it gets more and more integrated into supply chain solutions.
Mm-hmm.
We've been using it for a while at Everstream to solve problems related to risk, understanding risk, finding risk, and helping our customers add context around that risk so they can know what to do about it.
So if someone comes to you and say, look, I want to talk about Gen AI, I want to talk about generative AI, and I want to know, what do you think it can do in my supply chain? How would you answer that question? What would you tell them?
Yeah, that's a hot one these days, Gen AI. It's quite popular, and we're using it today in a few different places. What it's good at is generating new data. And so we use it to help us build training sets for models to learn from. Sometimes there's not enough data to learn from, so it can generate more and make you have higher quality models. It's good at summarizing information. Where there's lots of information, it can help you get to the salient things going on in supply chain without having to, you as a human, understand all of that information.
Let me ask you this, and don't misunderstand when I say, does it work? Because obviously you're using it and it's being utilized in a number of ways and it's been beneficial. But one of the things we hear about AI in the social world, as opposed to in industry, is that there are all kinds of pitfalls, not the least of which is inaccurate information, etc. Is that an issue with Gen AI in the supply chain?
It depends on how you use it. If you treat it based on the state of Gen AI today, it can still be pretty valuable to you. So it's really good at generating content. That's a first draft, and that's how we look at it. So we look at it to understand a risk event, tell us what's going on around it, and then we give that to our human analysts, and they refine it and make sure that there's no, what they call hallucinations in what it's generated.
Let's talk about expectations that people have. I'm hearing all these great things that AI can do in my company, so I want to make sure that I'm availing myself of that. Well, do people have some unrealistic expectations or beliefs or assumptions about what AI can do for them?
Sure. At the bare essence of it, it's probability based. And so you need to be able to differentiate that from engineering, which is a little more rule-based, black and white when you're making decisions. So understand that there's probability involved in what you're looking at. And it's also not easy. It takes more than just training a model. You've got to build the pipeline to give data to the model. You've got to test it and retest it and make it better and better. Then you've got to deploy it into a production environment. All of that takes slightly different skill sets. Engineers, data engineers, DevOps people. So there's an entire cast of characters required to be able to deploy it.
You know, a potential customer might come to you and hear you say that and say, look, I'm not a data scientist. I am not somebody who understands that sort of thing. More particularly, the chief financial officer, who's going to have to be the one to approve this investment, doesn't understand any of that. So tell that officer and tell me, what are the benefits I'm going to get, my company is going to realize through AI? What would you tell those folks?
So from an Everstream perspective, we're going to tell that CFO that you're going to know about risk sooner, and it's going to be relevant risk we're telling you about. And that's what's key to making decisions. Only tell me what I need to know about and make sure it's relevant and give me enough context so I can understand the potential impact to my business.
Well, now that is a real world situation that they clearly want to learn more about, no doubt. Let's talk more specifically about Everstream itself. Somebody out there watching this thing is delighted to hear information about AI, but they want to know something about your company. They're not entirely familiar with it. So let's talk about the focus of Everstream. What would you say?
We are focused on risk analytics, from raw material to manufacturing and from manufacturing to the end customer. Anywhere along that supply chain, we're identifying risk. It can be risk associated with a company, a location, a material, your entire distribution network or your entire procurement network. And we're trying to focus in on that and help you understand what you need to know about when you need to know it.
So, you know, it's interesting. You talk about all of those different links, if you will, in the supply chain there. Let me just return to benefits that AI is going to bring to the supply chain. Is it realistic to expect that it has a role to play in any one of those links in the chain?
Absolutely. I view it more like steroids. You're already doing the process. A lot of it's manual. Maybe it's semi-automated. What AI can do is automate most of it for you and just tee up for the human being the information they need to know. You'll never replace that human being. You have tacit knowledge. You have better context than the machines do. And you're going to have to be there the whole time to make sure you're using it effectively.
That's strikes me as a very realistic approach that you are advising people to take when it comes to their assumptions about what they're going to derive benefit-wise from AI. Good information there and good conversation here. Thank you so much for finding the time to speak with us.
Yeah, thank you, Russell. I enjoyed it.
That's Jim Hayden. He's with Everstream Analytics, speaking with us today about the role of AI in the supply chain, perhaps in your supply chain. Thanks for watching.